Rockford Marathon is a month away, but the Boston Marathon is a mere 2 weeks away from now. Joe Mumford of Polo will compete in the nation's most famous race on April 18th. It'll be only the second full marathon he's ever run in. At one point, Mumford was 210 pounds before rededicating himself to running half marathons, and now the whole race. He's also dedicated this race to raising funds for the Ogle County Hospice. It means he has two goals when crossing the finish line in Boston.
My goal for the race, it's a little bit aggressive, but it's 2 hours 45 minutes. I qualified with 2 hours 49, so I think it's reasonable. And for the fundraiser, my goal is $4,000 total, and as of this morning, I know we crossed 3,000, so I'm really encouraged.
You can visit our web channel at WIFR.com to find out to find the link and to donate to Joe's cause.
Back at 9:12.
And we'd like to welcome Joe Mumford from Polo High School grad, I believe, a few years back to the 23 Morning Blend. And Joe is heading to Boston here in, what, 12 days?
It is 12 days, yes.
April 18th is Patriots Day, and you will be running in your first ever Boston Marathon. What made you decide that you wanted to try and qualify for the Boston Marathon?
Sure. I think for most runners, Boston serves as a bit of a pilgrimage in a way because of the history there and the qualifying that is required to compete in Boston. After my first half marathon a couple of years back, I knew pretty much right away that I had a chance to qualify, and did so last October.
We're looking at you from a Saturday run in McChesney Park, the Arnie Johnson Classic. How long? And this was just a little tune-up for you, huh?
It was. It was the third tune-up race that I completed. I did two half marathons, one in February, one in March, and then concluded my tune-ups here Saturday in Rockford with the Arnie Johnson 10-mile race that offered some challenging hills through Rock Cut State Park.
And you won the darn thing too, huh?
That was a surprise. You know, I ran a very similar time to last year, where I was fifth. So it was just fortunately my year this time around.
And so you won the Arnie Johnson, and at the same time you said, and so now you're what race did you use to qualify to go to Boston?
I used the Indianapolis Marathon last October. It's a mid-size event, about 1,000. Marathon runners. It was run simultaneous with the half marathon. It had approximately 3,500 participants.
Now you're going to be running with how many people are you?
Boston is approximately 25,000
runners.
Wow.
25,000. You're running for a reason here too. It's the Run to Remember with the National Hospice Association and the Ogle County Hospice as well.
That's correct. Run to Remember is the National Hospice Foundation's athletic fundraising event, and the moment I decided to run in Boston, I also decided that at that time to make it a Run to Remember. You know, you get to this stage with training and stage of your life when you start to reflect on a lot of people that have helped you along the way, and this was my opportunity to kind of give back and remember those people that we've lost in the last decade.
And you have a website set up, and you're still asking for donations as well, I understand.
That's correct. We're approximately, at last count, about 80% toward our goal of $4,000 for the fundraiser. And the website is administered through active.com, and the URL is fairly long. It can be.
It's basically active.com and then /donate, and then type in Joe's name somewhere and look around for it, and you'll find it. But we'll get the address up for you here in a second. But yeah, you're about $3,500 and 86% of your goal of $4,000 before the marathon on April 12th. Or April 18th, I'm sorry. Don't want to get you out there any sooner than you need to. And you have some pictures here, not just of you, but some of the people that you're dedicating your run to. Correct.
The initial three family members that the Run to Remember signifies for me is my father, my grandmother, and my aunt. And in addition to those three, we've offered folks who have contributed to the fundraising event the opportunity to add other loved ones as well. And my list has grown to 14 names, and I believe they're showing a graphic that will be on the back of my race shirt in Boston with all 14 of those folks represented. So it's been a privilege to run in the memory and honor of all of these folks, and it's been a great way to spread the word for the folks at National Hospice Foundation, Ogle County Hospice, and you know, I couldn't be happier.
You mentioned how a lot of these folks had been part of your training, and it's what's helped get you to where you're at today. What type of training has gone into this? Have you always been a runner?
I wasn't. I was a middle distance runner in high school, okay. And then spent a lot of you know, non-active years through college and early adulthood. It's really been in the last 2 years.
I'm still in that phase.
It's really been in the last 2 years. I actually underwent about a 60-pound weight loss.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And it wasn't until the last 2 years that I really started to sort of kind of crank things down, stay consistent, and actually win a couple of races, which are surprising. But I put in about 60 to 80 miles per week in preparation for Boston.
So in 2 years, you're ready for the Boston Marathon?
Yes.
Or you're going to be participating, whether you're ready or not.
Yes. Yep.
Well, that is quite an accomplishment here.
60 to 80 miles a week, though.
That is correct.
Did you run up here from Polo then today? Or?
Not quite. Not quite.
Do you run a lot of the same areas, or do you change it up? Because I would imagine a lot of the same roadways and same sidewalks can get kind of mundane and old.
This has been a long winter, so it does get very mundane and old. I'm fortunate to travel a little bit for my work.
Okay.
So with the magic of GPS watches and travel, I get to see some other parts of the country. I was just last Friday, the day before the Arnie Johnson race, running in Central Park in New York City.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, it's a fortunate thing. I get to see different areas sometimes.
Is this the beginning of a marathoning for you, or is this the Run to Remember is going to be a special event and that's it?
I think it's the beginning. The Run to Remember is absolutely special because, again, to put 10 hours in a week, you have a lot of time to think about the people that helped you along the way. However, this lifestyle is something that I plan on continuing with and carrying on. I don't want to go back to necessarily that 60-pound heavier person that I was.
What's the playlist?
Let's keep that up. Let's keep that.
For your music.
Yeah, let's keep that up there for a while, because that's Joe's address to donate to his Run to Remember, that bottom line there. So we'll give you a chance to kind of jot that down. And Aaron, what do you got in the old earphones?
No music.
No music.
No music. I started out 2 years ago with music. I stopped using music, and I felt my training has gone better. The performance has gone better.
A lot of people say that.
You're more in tune with your breathing. I run a lot early in the morning, and I can hear the coyotes off in the distance on the prairie path, and I think it's a safer way. You can hear traffic, and it's just, for me, it's been more beneficial not to use music.
Oh.
When did you decide? Well, you said during these runs you decided to honor the people that have been important to you in your life. When did you decide that Boston was a goal?
Actually, I decided after witnessing a friend of mine undergo a Run to Remember campaign in 2007 that if I ever did something like this, that I would carry on his inspiration. The run to make Boston the goal was really, I've always been one to kind of shoot sort of high, and so I figured there would probably be, in my career anyway, is, you know, not exactly an elite runner, that there would probably never be a better stage for me than Boston. So I think it's done a lot for this campaign. It's done a lot to raise awareness for hospice, and you know, as I said to a couple people earlier this week, Boston is sort of the Rose Bowl of marathons, and so, you know, what better way to help the folks at hospice than to use the granddaddy of them all.
Have you mapped out? Have you looked at? I'm sure you've looked at the course and studied the course. Have you got an idea of Heartbreak Hill and all that kind of stuff? What are your challenges? What are you looking forward to?
I do really believe it's going to be miles 16 through 21 where the hills start that are going to be the challenge. The 3 tune-ups that I referenced earlier were all hilly that I've run this spring thus far. So I'm hoping that my hill training has worked, but we will see in 12 days. So.
Well, good luck, Joe, and it's going to be a heck of a. I'm sure it's going to be something you're going to remember forever, and hopefully a lot of folks will benefit from Joe's Run to Remember. It's for the National Hospice Association and specifically the Ogle County Hospice locally, and you can be a part of Joe's Run to Remember at the Boston Marathon. That last line there is the website to go to donate, and you can donate easily right through there. Active.com/donate, Run to Remember 2010. / Joe Mumford. And yeah, we'll have that information on our website, WIFR.com, if you can't get to it and get a chance to jot it down. Joe, pleasure meeting you. And I know you met 23 Sports reporter Zach James. He's going to do a little story on Joe sometime this week as well. So another chance to, and good luck.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Let us know how you do.